Well, good afternoon. This is Mr. Farrell. This is the lesson video for lesson 14, week 10, daily lesson number 2. And our focus here, and so go ahead and get your workbook out. And this lesson is part-to-part whole ratios with type diagrams. So first thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take and write down the red arrows indicate things you need to write down. Focus, let's look at situations where you can add the quantities in a ratio together. So here we're looking at the parts of a ratio that add up to the whole. So for example, here in our opener, looking for the ratio of roses to yellow roses. So you have a chart here. So make sure you take, and I want you to write this, put this chart, this table into your notes. You have a whole and a part. So let's see how many roses we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 total roses. And how many of them are yellow? Well, 1, 2, 3. So it'd be a 6-to-3 ratio of total number of roses to the yellow roses. Then they want you to say ratio of roses to red roses. Well, your total stays the same. So it's going to be 6. And this now you only have 1 red rose. So that ratio would be a 6-to-1 ratio. Now let's do the same thing for these tools. So we have hammers to tools, parts to whole. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tools. We have 9 altogether. And how many hammers do we have? 2. There was some debate in class today whether those were hammers or mallets. It's up to you to decide. Ratio of pliers to tools. Well, again, the total stays the same. And there are 1, 2, 3 pairs of pliers. So that's how we can look at it. So be careful and watch what they're asking for in terms of how to write the ratio. Are they looking for whole to part or part to part? So now here are the vocabulary words. So I'd like you to stop the video here and I want you to write these down. So, okay, you're back. So part-to-part ratio, I have 2 definitions here, but this one here where the red arrow is pointing seems to be a much better definition, we decided. A select number of parts compared to other parts or the whole group. So this could either be a part-to-part ratio or a part-to-whole ratio. So please just write this one down and let's use that as our working definition. Tape diagrams are horizontal strip that is partitioned into parts or separated. And congruent, that came up from the daily warm-up, means that they are the same size. Now, we've been talking a lot about equivalent ratios that are equal to each other because one ratio is multiplied by the same factor on both sides to equal a new ratio. But so congruent also comes from the daily warm-up it also refers to shapes. So here are some examples of some tape diagrams. So tape diagrams just help you kind of take the ratio and draw a picture about it. So here we have divide $50 into the ratio 2-to-3. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my tape diagram 2-to-3. And the whole thing adds up to $50. So then I say, well, how many pieces do I have? How many parts am I talking about? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Well, 50 divided by 5 is 10. So what that means is that each box has $10 in it. So if it's a 2-to-3 ratio and it's $50, how much do 2 boys have money in their pockets? It's a 2-to-3 ratio and the total is $50. How much does each boy have? Well, one boy has $20. The other boy has $30. That's kind of a story problem to kind of go with that. Now let's do this other one. Divide 81 feet into a ratio of 5-to-4. Say we have a rope, and we're working on a construction site, and we have some rope, and it's a 5-to-4 ratio. So I have 81 feet. So what's it going to look like? Well, here again, here I make a tape diagram. There's 5 and 4. So, and altogether it's 81 feet. So then I add up the total pieces again. 5 plus 4 is 9. Well, 81 divided by 9 is going to be, well, you guessed it, 9. So each box has 9 feet in it. So one length of rope is going to be 54 feet. It's a 4. And the other one is going to be 36 feet. Okay. Let's keep going. Part to whole explained. Kenzie makes quilts with some blue squares and some green squares. The ratio of blue squares to green squares is shown in the diagram. Well, what is that ratio? Well, I have 1, 2, 3 blue, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green. So it's a 3-to-5 ratio, blue to green. And the table shows the number of squares and number of blue squares and number of green squares that Kenzie will make on 2 of her quilts. Based on the ratio, complete the missing values of the table. Well, I come down here, I can put my original ratio 3-to-5 up here. Because then I can look at this and say, well, what times 3 equals 15? Well, that's going to be a factor of 5. So 5 times 5 is going to be 25. And I put this other column in here too, just to kind of reinforce this idea of the whole. How many squares total on these quilts? Well, that would be 40. I add the 15 plus 25. So you see how I find the factor by looking at what they give me, the ratio, the original ratio, and the one piece and how it comes. How do we get to that other part of the equivalent ratio? So in this one, 5 times something equals 40. Well, that's of course going to be 8. But now this time, let me show you that in a tape diagram. So here I have 3, and here I have 5. Okay, and they all add up together to, well, I don't know what they add up all together, but I do know if I just focus in on this one, here's my blue one, or excuse me, that's my green, isn't it? Let me get that out of there. I don't want to confuse you. So I could look at this and say, well, for the green, it equals 40. Okay, so it's 5 pieces. There's the same amount of quilt squares in each of these boxes. So there must be 8 in each box. There you go. So, and if that's the case, then there's got to be 8 squares in each of these boxes for the blue ones. So this must equal 24. And altogether that would be 64. So that's how you use a tape diagram. You use it to the same amount as quantities in each of the boxes. So let's do this other one here. We've got 36. Let's see where I'm going to put that. I'll put it up here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, my drawing's a little off. Well, this time, this equals 36. So that must mean there's 12. And if this is 12 in each box, 12 times 5 equals 60. And then the total will be 96. So this is how we look at this and say how many squares, or how can I use a tape diagram to help me solve? Because it helps me draw a picture. All righty. I think we just did that one already. Okay, we did a Nearpod in class, and then I'm working on how to assign those. But let's do one more problem. Elena makes fruit punch by mixing 4 parts cranberry juice, 3 parts apple juice, and 2 parts grape juice. If one batch of fruit juice includes 30 cups of apple juice, how large is this batch of fruit punch? Well, let's see. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so I have, this is a 3 to 2, no, excuse me. This is a 4 to 3 to 2 for a total of 9 parts to make total punch. And they say this is going to be 30 for apple juice. Okay, so I'll come over here. Here's my tape diagram. This equals 30. So how much is going to be in each one? Well, that's pretty obvious, I think. 10, 10, 10 equals 30. Well, again, if we know that, then we know what this is. There's 10 in each of these. So this is 20. This is 40. And you can also probably figure that out without a tape diagram because you know that 10 times 3 is 30. So you probably would have already figured that one out. And the total is going to be 90. So how large is this batch of fruit punch? It is 90 parts. That could be cups, could be quarts, it could be anything kind of measurement, but they didn't specify. But that's how you look at that. Remember, each box has the same amount in it. And once they give you one, then just divide by that number of those of that part of the tape diagram, and you'll find out how much is in each one. Okay, that's the lesson video for this. So go to Schoology, look for week 10, daily lesson number 2. You can do option A, which is a typical assignment we normally do. Option B, the Khan Academy assignment, which gives you a chance to watch videos, then do exercises. And then option C, do both assignments. And as always, if you have questions, please let me know. You got this. Thank you very much.